Hey, Sonder family, welcome to tonight's journal prompt social. It's so good to see you. Bailey and I are so glad to be spending a little bit of time with you guys. Thank you for logging on, for welcoming one another. You have found your people. It's really good to see you this evening as we dig into the change compass and your change timeline. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. We'll be doing, of course, some more sharing as we go along. Y'all are already Hey Denise, y'all are already chatting it up. Denise C is asking about pen pals. Let Bailey go grab a link for you. Pen pals is an informal, not really, it's not from headquarters. Our wonderful facilitator friend Maya is doing that kind of on her own time to make sure that you guys have ways of connecting. So if you'll sign up on that form, Maya will grab that and, update it, put your info in there. So if you want a pen pal, do that. Maya is absolutely amazing for sure, Sierra. She keeps us all in line, is what I say. And yeah, make sure that chat set to everyone. Welcome, welcome. Is there anyone joining us for the very first time at a social? I saw a couple of people start talking about socials in Sonder Club this week, and so I was wondering if somebody is here for the first time. Just put a me in the chat. This is no, you aren't, Sierra. Um, Bonnie's here for the first time, and Dot is here for the first time. Okay, well, you're seeing how we do need more socials. I always say I wish we had like two of these for each one of these journaling sessions. I wish we had two of those each month. We want to give you a really big welcome, and just let you know your mics are off, your cameras off. You're welcome to participate as much or as little as you want. There's no pressure here, but you can already feel the vibe about what happens if you come to these socials enough. You get to know each other. And while we are virtual, I always say this is like one of the very best communities I've ever been a part of in my whole life. And I've only met a handful of you in real life, but oh my gosh, this is a good, positive, accepting, loving space that we create. So we're so glad you're here. Yeah, we're a cult of hype girls. I mean, where else can you find women just cheering on other women in the way that Sonder family does? So, really, really glad to welcome our first timers. So yeah, let's dig in. I'm real excited about our time together this evening. There are the community guidelines. Those of you who are returning know that we show these every time. If you're brand new, take a quick look. This is just that reminder about these spaces that we create with one another, and we always in make sure that you read number 7. That these are a tool to help elevate your emotional health, but ultimately you're responsible for your own emotions, well being, and decisions. So, sometimes when we do these journal prompt ones, we might get a little hard on ourselves, and we want you to be gentle with yourself. And if you're not feeling the vibe, then sit back, listen, catch this again at a recording. Bailey's going to share our YouTube channel that has, gosh, like almost, I think 1,200 now recorded socials for setups for journal. And I always say go back and check those. Like if you're having a rough time and you're like, I just don't even know what to believe anymore, go, you can search for believe socials, and they'll pop up, and you can go rewatch and rework those things. These journals never expire. So anyhow, so there's that. And then, of course, as our intro song changes suggested, this is our new theme for the month. I've really enjoyed how we left alignment, went into belief, and now we're looking at change and how we handle change in our life. Bailey and I had a really good conversation while we were running through the slide deck. I'll be sharing some of that as we do that. But My best friend, I'd shared it, a weekly setup. My best friend's name is Jen, and she said, "Ooh, change." And she said, "That's a good one because there's good change and there's hard change or tough change, but they're both hard, right? Like change is just hard." And so we're going to be visiting a little bit about that this evening as we work on these pages. So we have an opening activity that I think you're going to love. You might want to grab 5 or 6 different colors. You don't have to, but you might want to. We're going to be doing a little bit of a reset from our day, little focus on the paper. And then I'm actually going to change our pages, the page order up. So I want to do page 16 first and then page 15. It just seemed like it fed doing them standing alone, it probably doesn't matter, but I felt like the vibe of doing page 16 first kind of, it just seemed like a better flow to me. So I chose I chose to do that. Anyhow. I'm looking. I saw Denise has a shoulder reconstruct. Oh, Denise, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to use your non. I'm assuming your dominant hand is right. So you're going to. We need to have the theme of patience, so you can work on using that non-dominant hand. I'm sorry you have to go through surgery. You'll have to make sure that you keep us updated on how that goes. So. Our opening activity night tonight has to do with change. And, when we set a goal, when we have an idea of what we want for our life, we want to set the goal and then we want to achieve the goal. But as we live our life, it's not a straight line. There's starting and learning and doubting. There's failing and practicing and getting it and then losing it again and then struggling and feeling lost and all that stuff that leads to that achievement. And so I thought that this graphic would be a good, like, point of view to begin our opening activity. So I want you to turn to a notes page, or you could grab a scrap piece of paper for this one. But this is kind of going to be a doodling activity that's going to help your brain kind of reset from the day. And what we're doing is we're making a change tangle. We're taking chaos to order. We're changing chaos to an order of a good, smooth feeling. So, yeah, little doodle. So, we're going to flip to that notes page or grab your scratch piece of paper. And like we were looking at that graphic, change often feels messy right before it feels like it's right. So we're going to scribble. I've got some examples to show you. So hold up just a second. We're going to scribble a chaotic, dense knot of ink on one side of your page. And you can use different colors or thicknesses. You can use one color. This is more about the process. And then you're going to slowly pull out threads from the mess that can lead to something that is more calming, more meditative, repetitive, maybe some brickwork, some parallel lines. We're going to take this and we're going to smooth things out. Yeah, it's going to make sense. So I've got lots of examples here for you to consider. And that knot might be just what you need. You need to just do some scribbles, right? You can do different colors. You can use one color. And here's some examples of taking that chaos and then making sense of it, giving it some flow. I put my example there. I grabbed a bunch of colors because I just needed to see colors. And I ended up just sort of I had this image in my head about, do y'all get tummy aches when you get like very anxious and you're worried about things that are going to change? Sometimes I get these really big knots in my stomach and I make myself sick, the nerves, right? And so I kind of envision my chaos as my messy tummy, my stomach is in knots, worrying about a change of one kind or another. And then I decided to do these up and down, almost like a little heartbeat, like to soothe my soul. So I was trying to do a little representation with that chaos to calm in how I did my page. You also, something you might want to do, a suggestion, if there's a lot in your head tonight, maybe you name those strings, those things that are causing you angst or chaos, and you name them as you're scribbling, and then you pull that out. And so there's an example of what, how you might be feeling. But man, when you can name those emotions and pull them out into something that's a little nicer and tidier, that can be very cathartic. So you can do the activity just as a doodle, or you could put a little more meaning behind it, depending on what you need tonight, where you are, and what your head is telling you. Do you have something taking up too much space or consuming your brain? And then envision your possibilities as you pull them out, or as you loop them into something calmer and more beautiful. So I'm going to give you a pretty nice amount of time to work on this, probably about 7, 8 minutes, so that you have some time to really dig in. And I'll go back and forth between these slides. And as you're working on it, let us know, what's coming up for you. Be sure you're taking really deep breaths as you're working on tonight's opening activity. Let your mind release onto that paper, put it into that chaotic knot. And yeah, just sit with this activity and see what comes up for you. All right, I threw in a couple extra minutes because y'all were really enjoying the discovery of what was coming forth for you when you did this. Debbie, this is recorded, so you can also just go back and maybe grab a screenshot, just stop the recording and grab a screenshot of that. And then, the examples are just a bunch of little pieced examples that I put on there. Um, and y'all, the reminder of this that's really good is that anytime you can sit and do a little doodle or drawing or something that's repetitive, it does some amazing things for your brain. It helps those cortisol levels just start dropping and getting replaced by, serotonin or those happier hormones. It helps rebalance and recalibrate. So, whether you've named emotions or things that are on your mind, or you just did the doodle, there is power in that. Just doing the doodle and letting your brain calm down through a little bit of art therapy. So, oh, I love that you're hiding smiley faces, Marissa. Absolutely. Yeah. It just sort of recalibrates things. I just thank you for sharing and supporting and letting us know your ideas. And y'all know we want to see this in Sonder Club. I want to see like what came up for you as you were working through this opening activity. And this is a good go-to anytime you're at your desk. Make your ball of chaos and then just pull out those strings for a few minutes and it'll help settle your brain. And yes, a great idea for kids. Nathania says, "Ooh, when I go back from spring break, I'm thinking about having the kids do this." And, you can really extend this into lots of different ways of, some self reflection and learning some things about oneself. So let's now turn to page 16, which is your change timeline. And you may or may not finish up each one of these prompts tonight. No one's going to be grading this, so we'll um, kind of guide you through. And if you need to sit and finish up later, that's okay. I want to make sure that we have time to address bit of what direction I went as we look at this. So let's work on the top part first. We are invited to think about three pivotal moments when your life shifted or changed significantly. They could have been completely joyful or they could have been very challenging. They could combination of both. And we're just going to kind of reflect. I went with two things, but as I did this activity, so many more things popped up in my head. So my first one that I wrote to was just becoming a mom. That was a brand new chapter in my life. And, I wanted to parent alongside my husband and have a family. That was what was triggered it. And how did it affect me? Well, it was a tough start physically, but the best kind of start. And then what did I learn or gain? For me, it was that my purpose was solidified the moment that I held that little boy. That was my journey of new beginnings, of leaving a different kind of legacy. So, pretty big shift for me. Another change that was pretty significant for me, y'all know I'm a former teacher and administrator, and when I made the decision to go from classroom to administrator, that was huge. And what triggered it was I felt called to serve, to use gifts that people had identified in me, that I saw in myself. I leaned into my faith and I examined those God-given gifts. And how did it affect me? It was a very hard transition. I was the very first administrator hired from outside of the school. I wasn't accepted. Those staff members gave me a really difficult welcome my first year. I don't even know why I stuck it out, but I did. And I learned and grow the growth that I had that year. And so I said what I gained from that is I stuck it out and I learned I had tenacity and I learned how to use my skills in a different way. This job grew me as a person and it prepared me for so many other things that life brought my way. And for those of y'all who, we talked about change with our weekly mind map that first week. And I thought, really being an educator helped me, taking that job helped me learn how to be flexible, learn how to embrace change and not be intimidated by it. Even if I didn't like it, I would get through it. So I really learned a whole lot about life through that significant change of leaving a classroom experience that I loved and jumping into something that I really didn't know what I was doing. So there's my examples. So let me put on some music while you get going here. We'll give this a little bit of our time, and then we'll drop down to the bottom portion of this page. We often say when we are together that you have survived every single hard day that has been thrown your way. And it wasn't fun, but you survived. And perhaps that is where you can land when you think about what you learned or gained, is that you've got that like in your back pocket. You'll get through it. It's not fun. We'd rather not do it. But that can be that reminder, can be so empowering. And you can be very proud of yourself for getting through those hard things. And changes really do come with a lot of ages and stages of life. As I was writing these two things down, so many more things came up, retiring and choosing, to no longer work full time. Becoming a grandparent was a huge change. Kind of redefined my purpose after experiencing the loss of the empty nest, those empty nest years and the loss of being that busy mom. I grieved that. Somebody had mentioned that, and my husband tells so many men now. I had no idea how sad she would be. Like that, I could write pages on those feelings. So, we life is full of changes, and so what do we learn from that, and what do we take forward? And we survive those really yucky things. So the bottom of the page, our prompt is based on your reflections that you just did. Think about a change that you want to invite into your life this year and what will help you trust yourself through it. And so when I examined those two things that I wrote to, becoming a parent and then making that career change, it helped me be reminded that the things of life, the things that are truly important and meaningful, aren't always easy. And I am more honed when I overcome struggles and hardships and celebrate the new tools that I can add to my toolbox. So I can take those things, and then what it's going to help me with this year is I really want to be the healthiest version of myself that I can be. I'll remember, and I'll be speaking to that at our next page that we're working on. I'll remember, because of those two things I wrote to tonight, that I can do hard things. I can be more patient with myself, and I can throw in lots of grace for the hiccups because I was able to do that as a parent, as an administrator. So that can translate into these other areas of my life. So let's kind of look at these reflections and think about something that you are wanting to bring into your year, something you're working on. Could be, something in your environment, something physical, something mental, emotional, something at work, something in a relationship, and kind of write to it using those tools that you just reflected upon. as a reminder, give yourself the space that you need for this prompt and the answers. And I will tell you, sometimes when I sit with these and I cannot really come up with, like, oh, I'm not even sure, go take a hot shower and just be thinking about it. And sometimes you'll get some answers as you're, being cleansed and, kind of connecting with that time. So, anyhow, let's now go gently to, we're going to back up a page and we're going to take a look at this compass. And perhaps working on this change compass will help you go back and think about what you want for the year. It might inform the answer to the bottom part of that page. So I love this activity. I think you're really going to enjoy it. My page is there. I'll speak to it as we go through this. I do want to break these up into little sections because I think it just makes it easier. It's a little more palatable to take it a bite at a time. So, our page is asking us to visualize our life as a compass with each direction representing an area where change might be calling. In each quadrant, reflect on the current state and jot down the shift that you desire. So we'll start with north. And the prompt is, what beliefs or thought patterns are holding you back? What would a more empowering mindset look like? And so these are those saboteurs that, those tapes that run through your mind about I can't, or I don't deserve, or I shouldn't have. It's that stuff that's kind of on repeat with us. So, for my mindset, right now, I'm really trying to sync up all my health and nutrition. And before we do this, I also want to remind y'all, everybody approaches change differently. Bailey and I had a really neat discussion at the front end of this when we were going through these slides, and she brought up the point like our temperaments inform how we embrace change. And for some folks, they're very free spirited and they love change. They love new things every day. And then some folks, we like to know what to expect. And so respect who you are as a person as you look upon change. So when I'm looking at my mindset, I'm thinking of it in terms of my health, my overall health. And so my mindset right now is not good. And the negative part is I blew it again regarding all overall wellness. And I just make up excuses to justify not prioritizing my nutrition, movement, and rest. And I'm so disappointed again. But my shift is I love and take care of others in a beautiful way. And in doing so, I forget how important it is to care for myself, that every day offers a fresh start. I've got this. So, just kind of doing that mindset shift. There's some questions and some prompts here for your consideration. You can read them. And I'm going to put on some music while you think about maybe there's a thing that's, that tape that's playing that you shouldn't be. We always say don't should on ourselves. But it's things like I can't, I'm just not, blah, 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 right? So let's start off by looking at that and see how you can come up with a reframe of those thought patterns. Right. You may still be kind of working on this mindset prompt. I want to make sure that we are respectful of your time. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our next point on the compass. Oh, I meant to show y'all those. Forgot. Those are examples from our Sonder Club family who have worked on this page and posted. I'm so sorry. I'll go back through when we put on music to work on this next prompt. The next one is our relationships. Think about a change that might be needed in how you connect with others. Is there a relationship that needs nurturing, boundaries, or closures? And for me, I put the retirement with Jim looks different than what I imagined. We've embraced this chapter more as individuals than as a couple. And so that is a relationship that I know I need to nurture, and we need to still kind of figure things out. But that's what came up for me. I will put on some music while you think about this prompt and the relationships. Do you need some boundaries? Do you need some nurturing? And I've got some examples from Sonder family that I will also show you. love this one. Some folks are recognizing that there's relationships that need boundaries, but then there's also some relationships that might need a little more nurturing. And so, you're getting both sides of the coin with that. Our next direction is heading south, and that's looking at our environment. And the prompt is, how does your physical or digital space, think about those phones and your emails and all that, how do they stifle, support or stifle your growth? What changes can create more alignment? And for me, it's definitely physical clutter just throws me off. I need to have like clear visualization of things when I see things. And so we have this bonus room where I'm sitting right now. We call it the funny room because we really don't know what it is. It's not really a den, it's not a bedroom. So we just call it the funny room. But we've got desks in here. It's where I sew, it's where I have my desk for this. My husband's desk is there. But it's a mess. But this room and the garage are out of control, which is not good for a control freak. I'm more responsible for this room, so I need to commit to a better schedule each week to keep it tidy. So I'm going to consider adding this change to create more alignment is do funny room Fridays with a scheduled 30-minute tidy up. That's like going to be my response to trying to get realigned in this physical space, but maybe it's your digital space that's making you feel overwhelmed. So, yeah, I do thrive, but I do better when it's like clean. Yeah. And then the garage, y'all know that's always been one that I'm I'm talking about. So I'll let you read through the slide, but remember that your surroundings can affect your emotions and your decisions and your behaviors. Think about like those spaces that you spend time. Is it your phone? Is it work? Is it home? And write to that. Righty. And then Our very last compass point points us west to look at our routines. And the prompt is, which daily habits or rhythms feel outdated? What new habits could support the person that you're becoming? And so I spoke to this earlier. For me, I've written prioritizing health first thing each day instead of planning to do it later and then taking no action. So just do it by 11 o'clock. Wake up and be awesome. So that's where I went with that rhythm and routine. Think about those things that you are just on autopilot for. Are they serving you? Do they need a little shaping up so that you can be the version of you that you want to be? You all are so amazing. So I want to challenge you now to take one of these compass points and circle the one that is just really speaking to you about what, the prioritization, and let that one thing be the thing that you start focusing on as you want to evoke change in your life. Don't tackle this whole page, right? Like just pick that one thing, one compass point that you want to work on. And finally, I wanted to share this with you. I know we're going over, but this is such a powerful awareness tool that stress in our life causes us, or change causes stress in our life. And so we all feel it. And if you are not familiar with the Holmes and I think it's Raw stress scale, the QR code is there, and Bailey's also going to drop the link to this. This is an inventory that you can take about events in your life, and then there's a little scale at the bottom. The idea is to hopefully be under 150 points. But these things that happen in our life that are big changes or small changes all cause a certain amount of stress. And it can be good things like buying a house, taking on a mortgage. That's an exciting time, but that's like 31 points on this scale. Um, Taking a vacation is 13 points. It's fun, but it still costs you something. There's some changes involved. And so, of course, the biggest one would be death of a spouse or a partner. It's 100 points. And the idea is that hopefully your life doesn't go above 150 at any point, because it will then start to affect your health and wellness overall. So I thought this would be, yes, very much like the spoon theory, like this awareness in your life. So there are good stresses, just like there are good changes and there are tough stresses, tough changes in our life. And I thought that would be a good tool for you guys to take a look at and just draw awareness to your life, because overall picture is what we want to see. So thank y'all for hanging out till the end. I know we went over a smidge, and I do apologize for that. This was such a great piece of content tonight, these two journal prompts. Of course, if you're looking for a little more support in any of these changes, a really great way to do that is through that life coaching app. Give it a try, see what you think. It takes all of those saboteurs and those things that, those things that are running through our mind. It throws all of those tools together to really help. There's our playlist for this evening, and I just feel so honored to have been able to share this with you. Bailey and I are so proud of you for hanging out tonight. And again, this has been recorded, so if you missed something or we were a little short on something, go back and watch it. And I want to see your stuff in Sonder Club too. Okay, y'all take care. We'll see you next time.